I don't know what I did, but thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for all this.
Yeah, but I'm 100%. And also, blessings continue to flow when you're grateful. You know what I mean? Like when you stop being grateful, that cuts off the dam.
All right, hi, it's Monday. Welcome to the Chazz Palminteri Show. Monday at 11 o'clock, we got always a new show today. And what a show we got today. But before I do that, I want to remind you, if you want to come and see the one-man show that was a hit on Broadway and voted best show of the year in Las Vegas. John, where am I going to be?
November 3rd, you're going to be in St. Charles, Illinois at the Arcada Theater. November 8th, you're going to be in Ridgefield, Connecticut at the Ridgefield Theater. November 15th, you're going to be in Carteret, New Jersey at the Carteret Performing Arts Center. And November 23rd, you're going to be in Cranston, Rhode Island at the Park Theater.
Come and see the show. You won't be disappointed. Also, I got two of the best restaurants in the country. Chazz Palminteri's Italian restaurant, 30 West 46th Street, right off Fifth Avenue. And my other one, 264 Main Street in White Plains. Don't forget, if you want a dessert, my partner hears this, just mention my name. Say, I saw the podcast, I want a dessert. Free. On me, okay? We make our own tiramisu, you're going to love it. All right, listen.
Incredible.
My guest today, they say that word, he's a legend. Everybody's a fucking legend. But he truly is. He's, there's great characters on television, Tony Soprano, All in the Family, great shows that you remember these characters. They're iconic characters. But he's like more than one character. He's iconic himself. The man, before I tell you his name, the man has been doing sketch comedy and acting all his life. I got to ask him, did he have a struggle, this guy? Since he was a kid. I mean, this guy's been in carte blanche since day one. It's scary. Man started acting at 5 years old. He was on Nickelodeon. He had his own show. All that with Kenan and Kel. The Mighty Ducks. Good Burger, the movie. Fat Albert. 6 times he was nominated for an Emmy. He won an Emmy, a primetime Emmy we're talking about. 6 times he was nominated. He has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I am so excited to have the longest cast member on the legendary Saturday Night Live, Kenan Thompson.
That's way too much praise.
No, man. It is what it is.
I appreciate that.
If it's true, it ain't bragging.
Yeah, I hear you, man. But it's wild coming from you because you're definitely one of the guys that we have all looked up to.
Well, thank you.
What I mean? And just
thank you. But
try to like emulate as far as like being a professional. Like you're a very like character driven persona yourself, but you are a professional actor, and actors can see that. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that, Kenan.
Respect.
But let's get to you.
Come on,
I want to get
it.
to you.
Come
and
on.
you are now. You started acting at 5 years old.
Well, this is a kindergarten play.
Kindergarten, but still.
Everybody. But I was the gingerbread man. I wasn't the stove.
You were the gingerbread.
Yeah, I was a gingerbread man. Yeah.
You were the gingerbread man.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been on Saturday Night Live for 21 years.
Yes, I just started my 22nd yesterday.
Now, you are the only person ever to be born after the show.
Well, I was the first hired on the show to be born after the show.
To be born after the show.
Yeah. I like that one. That was a good one.
That was a good one, yeah.
It's cool,
Yeah, because no one else could beat that.
Yeah, that's a special one that I can always keep. And
yeah,
it's hard to like associate myself with that show because it is so iconic. So once you get there, it's hard to see it as the same place, but it is.
Now, I read about you. We'll talk about your earlier stuff, but first of all, we've got to talk about Saturday Night Live. And that was, they said when they write something for you, they go, don't give them the right, just say Kenan reacts. They go, because they just say that you make something funny and you make something that's funny incredibly memorable.
Thank you.
So, I mean, that is the ultimate compliment by, I mean, that was by all the writers and that was by, obviously, my name's the producer, the director. Lauren.
Yeah, yeah.
Lauren said that about just give Kenan the dialogue and leave him alone. You know
I
what
mean,
I mean?
it's hyper flattering because I am sort of a fish out of water ish, only because I consider myself an actor. You know what I mean? And
Right.
I do a lot of comedy, yes, but I'm not a joke teller, and I didn't go to improv school. I just started working young, and it's been in the comedy realm basically.
Did you ever do stand-up?
No, I've done versions of it, like
Right.
speaking to colleges and stuff like that. But I had to do stand up for my audition for SNL, which was terrifying. But no, I didn't grow up as a stand up comic.
Wow.
Man, I'm an actor.
You're an actor, yes. And you're a good actor. I've seen you.
So yeah, like Kenan reacts and like, just give me the ball. Like those are, things that you give to an actor that you trust to an actor kind of thing. It feels like.
Now, Kenan, I think I could guess, but I don't want to guess. Who were your influences when you were growing up?
Sitting here talking to one.
Well, thanks. Thanks.
But yeah, I mean, I grew up in the HBO era when HBO first came out. So it was, every movie that we got to see a million times, 48 Hours, Comes
Was
to
Eddie Murphy
America,
an influence?
big
Yeah.
time. Like anybody in the black stardom, I would say. But
Sure.
then on the other side of things, we had the Trading Places and the Three Amigos and the Spies Like Us, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And then as things grew, it got into, we were able to see, The Godfather and Goodfellas and, Analyze and like, Bronx Tales and like all those things that, can come to your local vicinity, you know what I mean? Because we didn't really have movie theater money, you know what I mean? So it could just come right into the house. And then like that was really good times growing up.
Wow. Now, on people are, because I know people, because I'm interested in this in sketch comedy, especially. Let's talk about Saturday Night Live. Let's stay on that because a lot of people obviously know you from there. That do you when do you write your own stuff, or the writers write, or can you participate in the writing of it?
Yes, I'm a collaborator. My writing, when I write by myself, goes in several different nonsensical directions.
Right.
So it doesn't stay linear enough to make sense. It makes sense to me as I'm like, it's just a thought process. So I'm just like
Right.
going from thought to thought to thought. But when you read it, there's no context. So you need a writer to keep everything kind of formulated.
Yeah, formulated.
Anybody to pick it up and read it from A to Z and have the same experience.
Right.
Like that's the beauty of writers.
Right.
And yeah, I work with a lot of great ones over there. Brian Tucker's mainly,
Right.
one of the main ones. But, me and Colin Jost shared an office for 8 years. Michael Che is a prolific writer,
Right.
first black head writer, and like a dear friend of mine because he's always giving me, like alley-oops constantly. You know what I'm saying? He's always writing
Wow.
something brilliant for me to do. Like we did this like barbecue gynecologist last year. You know what I mean? He's like
Yeah.
a guy that used to work a barbecue pit, but now he's a gynecologist and comes in with, barbecue sauce on his lab coat, whatever. Fantastic stuff. So yeah, I work with, a lot of great people that
Yeah.
I give them all the credit.
Now, do you know when you guys are writing and you're laughing and you're writing, do you know, oh, this is going to be a hit, or you just go, you don't know?
It's way too subjective. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it varies on what kind of audience that day, what part of the year we're in, how late
Really?
it's getting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough on the audience, like in the middle of the winter, because 11:30 is, coming at the very end of the day. You know what I'm
They're
saying? And they be
tired.
lining, I don't know how long it took them to get there, what they've been doing. If they're coming
Yeah.
from dinner, they may be sleepy. So, and then if it's winter, you want to just stay cozy and like not participate that much. So sometimes we can't really tell if it's really hilarious or not until like we start getting like feedback on our phones from people outside the studio, where it's just like taken in kind of raw as opposed to like,
Right.
the elements of the day,
Now,
basically.
do you guys have a run through before you do it live? You do, right?
Yeah, we do the show like 3 times
And
technically.
does anybody look at it and go, man, I don't know about this sketch?
Lauren.
Lauren.
Is, amongst him and the producers and,
Yeah.
the writers and the audience, like that kind of, perfect storm will tell you like pretty much a lot of the time. And then there's always, some X factors of why things make it and some
Now,
things don't.
Saturday Night Live, it's live, obviously.
The actual show at 11:30, yes.
Okay.
Dress rehearsal before it is 2 hours. Starts at 8.
Is that with an audience?
That's with an audience as well.
So the audience sees it twice?
Different audience. They leave in another audience.
Okay, so you have that first audience there to like test, see how it plays.
Yeah, but you know, people are different. So sometimes things play really well at dress rehearsal and you can't like depend on that because it's a totally different group of people now. So it's like try not to like overperform at dress so it doesn't, you know, one of Tracy Morgan's favorite quotes, don't peak at dress.
Don't what?
Don't peak at dress.
He's right, yeah.
He's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't peek at dress.
Yeah.
Kind of, but then you want to still do it to make it funny.
You got to perform it. Yeah.
You got to perform it. The amazing thing about sketch comedy, and I was not as like obviously like you've had. I was with a group. I think I told you before. I was
That's
with
the amazing part that you did comedy. In the
I did
beginning.
comedy,
Yeah,
yes.
that's amazing.
And I was with this group called the New York Comedy Players, and we played. Never had the fame that you guys had, but we traveled all over. We were good.
Yeah.
We were pretty good. But the amazing thing that I learned from that, I was very young in the 70s, was that one guy wrote a skit, and the skit was Marlon Brando as an acting teacher, and it was funny. And I was the student, and and we did it. He wrote it and we did it for an audience and it just sucked. It was bad. We just, I mean, not a word, bombed.
Yeah.
So I said to him, I said, Tom, I said, that's bad.
I don't think this is
We
working.
can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, but just give me a little time. Let me work on it. And I'm like, oh, fuck.
Right.
So he worked on it and we did it again maybe a month later. And we got some laughs.
Yeah.
And I said, Tom, it's still bombing. We get
Yeah.
laughs, but let me work on it.
Yeah.
Do you know this fucking guy, after about 3 or 4 times we did it, and it became a great skit. And I learned something from that, like, wow, you can make it better if you just work on it, you know?
Yeah, that's one beauty of comedy. And I think some drama gets that in the beginning where like this is why they probably rehearse so long leading up into plays and stuff like that.
Yes.
But yeah, trimming the fat is effective. And yeah, finding a punchier joke, better, smarter, you know, something to be more respected, sharper, quicker thing to just sink your teeth into that audience and pull them along to this experience. Yeah, it takes work.
It takes work, a lot of work.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever ad-lib?
In the beginning, yes. And then we have to
When the show's on, no.
Yeah, we got to lock it in because it's a lot of departments. Like it's a lot of lighting people or
okay.
Special effects.
So then you got to lock
have
it
to
in.
throw some fog. Yeah, but there's some moments where camera's on me for a little bit, so I can smirk a little more.
Does everybody
extend that laugh?
Does ever any jealousy, like you don't upstage me or things like that, or no? Well, we don't have to talk about that.
I don't think these days anymore. I think the cast has been very like loving and supportive since the Will Ferrell days. I want to say, you know what I mean? Like,
now, here's a question I want to. So you gotta, you push the limits with saying that live. Now you have a person that comes in and goes, "Oh, wait a second, too much, too much."
Yeah.
But do you know Betsy Torres?
Yeah, Betsy's good people. You know Betsy?
Very well.
That's incredible. Yeah, that's a New York thing, I assume.
Yeah, she's married to my friend Seth
That's
Mitchell.
even closer. Amazing.
What?
I said, well, that's even closer.
I introduced them to Betsy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I know.
Crazy.
And she's always telling me, I had to do this. They came in with this, and I got to tell them they can't do this.
We torture Betsy. Shout out to
That's
Betsy
what she
Torres.
said. Shout out to Betsy Torres.
Yeah, and she's not a nun. You know what I mean? But she is, kind of the shepherd of the innocent of middle America or whatever, the places where it might be a little more shocking to hear certain vocabulary. You know what I mean? She's kind of the guardian of that, and she does a great job. She keeps the level of class,
yes,
at the show at a high level, with Lauren and stuff like that. But yeah, we burn her ears up pretty good on Wednesdays.
Yeah. Now, could you say curse words on the show? I mean, not really.
Some. And I feel like there's a limit to them. Like we say the B word and maybe the A word or something.
Right.
But no
That's
hard
amazing.
S's. Yeah, no hard F's.
No hard F's.
Yeah, no hard S's, I don't think.
No C words.
And like also no just blatant kind of words towards like, sexual organs or, activities or anything.
Right.
Like nothing too explicit, basically. It's just it makes us stay creative. Like if we want to go into that realm, we have to come up with peen instead of the actual word kind of thing. Which
Yeah,
is
because
fun.
it's
Weenus.
not I'm saying it's easy to be dirty comedy. It's easy to be dirty. Maybe in one aspect it is, but it's hard to be clean and funny.
It's the hardest thing in the world.
I think so. Yeah.
And there are very, very smart people that write that show.
Right. Do you go in? After 21 years, do you still go in with happy and ready to go, or is there ever a time?
Yeah,
you goes,
until I pitch, I've never mastered the art of the pitch meeting.
Right.
Just because, like, another thing about comedy being subjective, like, it's funny to me in my mind, and then when I say it out loud, and I haven't really had a chance to work it out because I don't do stand-up, so I haven't had a chance to, like, carve out what this thought is and how to make it funny in a 1 to 2 sentence kind of format setting kind of thing.
Yeah.
I just bomb. Like I bombed yesterday trying to just get a thought out, but whatever. I bomb in a charming way. Like they see that
everybody
it was
bombs.
amusing to me. Yeah. And
everybody bombs.
You start from, there and build it up. So
yeah, I mean, I remember I did a movie with Chris Rock, and I'm sure you know Chris.
Yeah, one of the greatest rewriters ever.
Ever. And Chris and funny guy.
Yep.
Funny guy.
Yep.
In life.
Sharp.
I mean, sharp. I remember Chris, and I always tell this story. I was sitting there with him, and this John Kennedy just died from the plane crash.
Okay.
And I remember this, and I said to him, I go, Chris, yeah, Kennedy died. You heard about it? He goes, yeah. He goes, and I'm talking about, and I just said to him, I go, man, I said, well, the guy's worth $500 million. Get a fucking pilot, man. What's the big deal, And he just looks at me while we're sitting there and says, Chazz, all he had to do is walk across the street. There's an airport with his fucking name on it. And I just found that funny.
It's hilarious. And that's the beauty of what comics do. You know what I mean? Like if you find it the right way, you can have that outcome. And that's what they should all be striving for. Like, they miss targets and, step on some toes over here or step on toes or whatever it is. But the beauty of that, to be able to bring levity to such a heavy thing.
And he said to me, he goes, Chazz, when John
died,
we all got a little bit cuter.
You know what I'm saying? Another one. That's two.
It's just great shit.
Fantastic. It's almost like they want to look into sorrow to find nuggets, because it's like the opposite is so apparently there, maybe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like when you look dark, the light is pretty apparent. Like it's going to be the opposite direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's those. I mean, Chris is one of my favorite. I grew up with my favorite comic of all time was because he changed the game was Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
Before him it was joke, or just talk. But
like
Pryor,
Rickles. I think Rickles was the ultimate joke.
Yes.
Guy.
Or Roddy Dangerfield.
For sure.
Yeah.
Roddy
what's funny? I asked Chris Rock once. I said, "Who was the toughest man to follow?" And he said, "Toughest guy, comic, Roddy Dangerfield." And I said, "Why?" I wouldn't think he would say that. I would think Robin Williams. He said because he's like bam, 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 bam,
hardcore.
And then you get up there and you're not bam, bam, bam.
No. And Rodney kind of reflected a culture that was to be respected at that time, like highly respected. And he's out there zinging, you know what I mean? So like people want to go along with that, and then you come and you're not that, and you're not zinging. It's like, who the fuck are you that we need to give our energy to at all? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, very hard to follow, I'm sure.
Very hard to follow, and I couldn't. And obviously, I love Dave Chappelle. Dave, again,
the
I go, fucking, and they use that word a lot, genius. But I go, motherfucker, made that funny. How can he make abortion
He's a
funny?
A wordsmith. Like the way he uses his vocabulary is one
How
of my
could you
favorite
make
things to
abortion
listen to.
funny? I'm going, how the fuck?
Yeah, because that part of it is not. You
No,
gotta
it's not.
find where in the world it is. It's like the people that write Weekend Update jokes. I feel like they're hyper talented people to take a headline and then find a joke in it. Because it could go, like your mind could reference 10,000 directions, but they find one that actually sticks and we laugh at it. That's amazing.
Right. Do you guys ever, when you're on the show, do something, then walk backstage and go, "Oh shit, that bombed," and you start
100%.
laughing like,
It's the greatest thing ever because it is so shocking. Like the silence of it all, because up until that point, we think
you think it's gonna work.
Yeah, we think we're just regular people and like we represent, the masses.
Right.
It's not the case, So a lot of the times they missed something, along the way, and it's a lot of fun finding where that disconnect happened. And hopefully you can fix it in time to like get it on the show. But
I'm
it
sure
is
some
funny in the
sketches
moment.
bomb, right?
It's hilarious. Especially a Weekend Update when you're just trying some character and the audience is just not having it. You know
They're
what
not
I mean?
having
They're
it.
just not having it.
And is there ever an audience? I'm sure there is, that from the first sketch you go, "Oh shit," because one thing I learned about an audience is
Yeah.
they take their own personality. In the
Mhm.
very beginning, if they don't, not big laughers, then if people are afraid to laugh, then
Yeah. And we have it like to where it's sometimes they're there for the musical guest. You know what I mean? They're not just there for comedy. There's that dynamic as
I
well.
forgot about that.
Yeah. So
That's
sometimes they
right.
just like want to move the comedy out of the way so they can see a performance. And it's like, no, that's not what this is about. Like this is about this with that. But you got to have them both. So it makes it a little tough when it's like a little more lopsided towards the musical guest and not for comedy's sake. Because it's like, well, you guys are in for a long night because we got a lot of comedy and not
We
a
got a
whole lot
lot.
of music.
Oh shit! Now, when you have guest stars,
Uh-huh.
how do they work it? How do you work? You know what I found? The worst thing in the world to me, because I know I've directed movies and acted with them, the worst thing in the world is a big star who thinks he's funny. That's the absolute, because he says something, everybody has to laugh, and you go,
Powerful people that think they're funny, yes.
and you go, "What
Terrible.
the fuck?
Yeah.
That's
'Cause
not
you're
funny.
that's
Why are
bullshit.
people laughing?"
This is bullshit. And you're witnessing bullshit and you can't really call it because you don't want to be the guy that's just like ruining the moment for the sake of telling the truth. But
Right.
man, it stinks. You know what I mean? And it's hard to hold your nose. But we have a way of learning. We've had a way of learning how to like massage personalities. You know what I'm saying? Because we deal with a lot of different ones. Like SNL is one of those places where all of those people at their highest level, for some reason, feel a little more relaxed and comfortable in that area.
Right.
So they tend to relax. But at the same time, there's some young buck that wants to come in there and like doesn't really know the kinds of people that have come before him that were way chiller. You know what I mean? And like way more down to earth.
Be down to earth. Like,
It just
well, you know
they
what it is?
can't see it.
They
So,
come in there, you know what? Yeah, it's funny you say that, Kenan, because what happens is when a star comes in an element like that, he has to say, "Hey, I'm a star. Don't fuck with me."
Yep.
And I've done a lot more than you have. Instead of just coming in there and being a good guy and learning.
Be a human being because it's a machine filled with human beings. You know what I mean? It's not like a truck full of stars. Like there's some stars there, yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the other 90% is like working class people. There's a 4-generation family that's like on the crew. You know what I mean? And these are
Wow.
just like
Yeah.
people that like
Yeah.
work their job and have their families in Long Island or wherever they
Like,
live.
be
You know what I mean?
nice. Just be nice to everybody. What's the big fucking deal?
Why not? What's it gonna hurt you
Yeah.
to be nice? I don't
Yeah.
get it. Like you only gain smiles and hugs
Yeah.
and happiness. So like, why wouldn't you do that?
Wow. Now, do you have celebrities every week to come in and is it every week or no?
Yeah, there's a host of the musical guests, and they're usually
There's a host
at
every
a
week.
very famous part
Hey,
of their
Lauren, what
lives.
about me?
Ho!
You know what?
What's going on out here? For the record,
For the record, I want to do it.
let it be known.
And I
Make a
and I
phone
do
call.
comedy.
And yeah, you do comedy
I
very
do
well.
comedy. I was nominated for Academy Award for comedy.
Okay,
Okay, come on, babe.
for Analyze?
No, for Bullets Over Broadway,
For Bullets Over Broadway.
Woody Allen movie.
Wow.
Lauren, I'm in.
Hello. Classic.
Come on.
Homegrown.
Right. I'm a writer and I'm funny. Anyway, listen, I'm just like shocked. Like, what was your favorite character you ever did? Was it Barack Obama? That was a pretty good one.
I never did Barack.
Oh, you didn't
I
do Barack.
wanted to do Barack.
Oh, you didn't do Barack.
I tried out
Why
for
did
it,
I
but
think
like
you
no.
did Barack?
Because I think Jay did it, and we do
Yeah.
similar kind of work. Like I do some impressions, but Jay's a master impersonator. Like
Right.
really, really good. Like he's the first person I ever heard do Will Smith. Like nobody has a Will
Who the hell
Smith.
could do Will Smith? Yeah.
Jay Farrow. You know what I mean? And it's perfect and dynamic.
Really?
It's crazy. But you know, so is his Jay-Z, and his Barack was strong, and like, you know, he's one of those guys. And you know, he had like a 6-7 year run kind of thing, and I never did anybody that high on the political spectrum. I did a couple, like the guy that said rent is too damn high, you know what I mean, and people
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Now, do you ever see? I read about you, and it said this is your life plan. Like you want to be on Saturday Night Live. Like you're on now for 21
I wanted
years.
it, but like I didn't know if it would ever really happen. You know what I mean? Like it was just something we said.
Right.
You know, just being kids kind of thing. I didn't even know if the acting thing was going to happen, because like Atlanta didn't have the opportunities it has now. You know, it was like
Right.
kind of getting there. We had like, you know, TBS that was starting to do some things kind of
Right.
thing. But yeah, it was very like, if it's not LA or New York, like good luck for a long time.
Would you ever think about being in a really serious play, or do a play on Broadway or something like that? Well, that
Yeah,
would be hard to do.
Broadway, they work very hard. But I
Yes.
would love to do a serious performance of some sort
Of
that
some sort,
that
yeah.
would actually work, because I grew up doing serious theater. Like
Right.
my high school was, you know, our drama.
You went to what
thing
high
was
school did you go to? I forgot.
in Atlanta. It was called Tri-Cities High School.
Right.
But I was part of a theater organization that was like downtown, kind of, that was called the Youth Ensemble of Atlanta, YEA.
Right.
And like all our plays were hyper dramatic. You know, South
Wow.
Africa, teen AIDS,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, drug addiction.
Wow.
Like, yeah.
Now, Kenan, how do you feel about, like, you have 2 daughters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have 1 daughter. 2 daughters, please. Daughters are tough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like your
Yeah.
son. I have a son too, and sons are harder when they're young. Boys are harder when they're very young.
Mm-hmm.
But after they get older, they're easy. Girls are easy when they're young, but they get harder as they get older.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
It's a dynamic, yeah.
yeah, and it's just, you know, dad, they want this, they want that, then everything's dad. You can't say that, you can't do that. You know, how old are your children?
They are 10 and 6.
All right, so you're okay.
Yeah.
Mine's
so far.
22, so
Yeah.
that's.
Yeah, they're very responsible and like sweet, and they take care of themselves. But yeah, it's starting to get complicated. It's getting complicated.
It
for
gets
the big
complicated.
One.
Once
Yeah.
they get like that, you know, that Instagram thing at 12,
Yeah.
13, and
All of that. I mean, they're growing up in the age of tech, so
yeah,
it's a constant back and forth conversation of, don't let them get left behind. How much screen time? You know what I mean? Should we, you know, this, that, and the other, disengage or whatever? Stay
right.
engaged. It's what their friends are doing. You know, as long as it's so much. You
So
know what I
much.
mean? But
Right. Now, do they know their daddy's famous?
yeah, they think they're more famous, but they know, and they're funny. Like the little one is just the funniest person in the world. It's like she's, you know, second children syndrome. You know, kind of fearless.
Right. Would you let them go into the business, you
Yeah.
think? If they
Yeah,
wanted
you
to?
know, we shot a commercial recently, like 6 months ago, for like Nintendo.
Really?
You know, that was like the greatest day of work I've ever had. Like my little ones on set, they had their own trailer.
Oh God.
You know
yes.
what I mean?
Yeah.
It was unreal. I was so happy for them and proud, and they did it. Like,
Yeah.
like it was
Yeah.
nothing.
My 2
Yeah.
children are in the business too. My
Yeah.
son and my daughter, both of them.
Yeah.
But they had to go to, they both went to great colleges, graduated.
Right.
You know, I said, that's important. You got to get, you know.
And that's what I want them to do too. Like, I don't want to nepo them all the way through, but like,
Right.
I was just like, you know, I'm going to take this one. Like, because they called me for that. Like, they called me because they knew I had daughters, and they were like, we
They
want to
said,
do
"Hey."
something with you and your daughters. I was like, what a blessing, you know, because your kids are in the industry. You
Yeah.
might not ever have a chance to like actually organically be on a project together.
Right.
So like, I took that W, and like, it was the greatest day.
Yeah, you
Greatest
know what?
day.
It was funny with my children. When they were young, they would be like, when people make a fuss over you, they're like,
Right.
you know. But then as soon as they got older, And then we walked into a restaurant. There was no tables. And they went, "Oh, Mr. Palminteri."
You know my father?
Then it was like, okay, Daddy's cool.
Yeah.
Then it was cool.
Yeah.
But before that, forget it.
Yeah.
Then we get annoyed, like,
because it's their world. You know, when they're kids, it's their world, which is why,
world.
you know, shout out to everybody who tries to approach me with my kids and has to like listen to me say I'd rather not take a picture when I'm around my kids. Like, I apologize for that, but that's just how I feel. Like, I feel like it's their time, and
if they're young, especially
they're only young ones,
especially young like that.
Yeah.
I agree. If they're in the 25, they want to take a picture. Fine, but young like that, it's like, hey man,
you know,
I'm with my kids.
Let
you
them
know,
have their little moment,
because you know how that is. Once you take one,
right,
and there's a crowd, you're done.
Yeah.
And I love people that go, no, just one picture. I go, my man, it's never just one picture.
We shot our opening titles last Thursday or Friday, and mine is in Times Square. So they squared off Times Square and we're shooting, blah, 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 and then it's time to leave, right? It's 200 people here, 200 people here, 200 people there.
You'll be there an hour.
I'm trying to get through or whatever. One picture, really.
It's never one.
I was like,
yeah,
I could never take enough pictures here in this setting. You know what I mean? And I don't want to upset
that's
anybody.
When you got to have the bad guy.
I apologize. Like,
Kenan, we're late.
Yeah, I know. We got to go.
We got to go. They grab your arm.
You know?
You go,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
You know,
right.
There's nothing I can do. I would take it. I would take every picture.
Right.
Yeah, it's tough.
Now, I remember reading about some of these kids shows.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if you don't want to talk about it, we don't have to. But like Nickelodeon.
Mm-hmm.
What was that name of that show, John?
Kenan and Kel.
What?
Kenan and Kel? Or all that?
No, the one that got in trouble, the Nickelodeon.
Oh, all that, yeah.
What was that? I forgot.
Well, it wasn't the show that got in trouble.
No, it was a documentary.
It was certain individuals, yes. But the two shows I worked on were All That and the Kenan and
All
Kel
That.
show.
That's it.
All That.
That's it. And that was pretty cool then when you worked on that. That was at that time.
It was the greatest experience in my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the horrors, started rolling after our
after you left.
Yeah.
Wow.
Unfortunately, because I guess we trailblazed so hard. You know what I mean? That unfortunately it allowed for certain people to kind of abuse powers. In lots of different ways.
Now,
apparently.
Nickelodeon and all those shows where you brought it right up to Disney. That's like that was like Saturday Night Live for kids.
Yeah, we used to say that. We were like, we're the Saturday Night Live for kids. Not knowing that it's drastically different. But we were doing sketch comedy and we were performing in front of an audience. So we thought that was the closest thing to that. Because like Disney didn't have a sketch comedy show. Like they had performance shows. Talented kids and doing like music numbers and stuff like that. But nothing just like, wacky characters and like pre-tape stuff.
Wow. Do you ever feel do you ever see anybody from the show? From those early shows?
No, I'm close with Kel. That's my brother for life. And my brother Josh, who was like, we were all close in age, so we were like the three amigos, basically.
So you're still friends?
Yeah. And like, I would say like all of the original cast, I'm close to. I don't see them, but like I have nothing but love for them. And then there were several casts on down the line, so I try to be as open to anybody's phone call as possible, but like a lot of them, I didn't really get to spend much time with them. If I met them, it was in, a 100 anniversary kind of quick or 10-year anniversary thing.
Do you hang out with friends that are in the business or out of the business?
A little bit of both, only because I've been in the business so long.
You have friends
I have friends that I've known for so long that are in the business.
You ever have friends? People don't realize it. You ever have friends that just go, "Hey, come on, Kenan, put me in a movie, put me on the show," and you want to go. It's just not that easy.
It's not easy at all, and I don't think people understand.
They don't understand
the amount of people that actually book a gig compared to the amount of people that are trying to book a gig.
Oh my God,
it's wild, and the amount of grace working actors should approach the world with.
Yeah.
Real ones know, you know what I mean? And like that's why, a lot of us are humble.
Yes.
And like a lot of us, are real. Like I had so much fun driving up here. You know what I mean? And it's a stretch.
You were so great because I said, I'll send the coffee. And you went, nah, man, I'll drive.
Yeah.
And I said, I love this guy already.
I love it. I never felt more alive to be free driving myself, you know what I mean, to an unknown destination that's not, you know, it's not like a super duper mystery, like we're still in New York.
Yeah,
You know
we're
what I
still in
mean?
New
But at the
York,
same
right? Exactly.
time, you know,
Yeah.
I'm out here dolo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like that's what
I
being
feel
a
the
real
same way.
person is.
You know what? And I've done movies with, and not to drop names, but I've done 4 movies with
Drop 'em.
with De Niro, and
Yeah.
I've worked with Pacino and Nicholson and all these guys. And you know what? They're the nicest guys in the world.
That's what's up. That's what
It's like, what
makes
the
it
fuck?
real.
And the worst are the people who are not stars, but they want to be stars, but they're like a little bit of fame.
Yeah.
Sometimes they could be the worst.
I think so. And if it almost like my heart goes out to them in like not necessarily a pity sort of way, but a little bit, because it's like, oh, they think that that's what a star is supposed to be like.
Yes,
You know what I
yes,
mean? And
yes.
that's not the case.
No.
Like they obviously haven't done any sort of research on some of the greatest
Yes.
people on the planet. They're-
Absolutely.
Like a lot of them are very loving and open and
Yes.
like trying to help their fellow or whatever.
Exactly. You see what it is? And you're right. They don't know who they are. So they have to put this thing out there about, well, I'm this guy. And it's just like,
And they're scared for it to be taken away from them at
Right.
the same time.
it's like, be yourself, man.
Because that's what they can't take.
I'm happy
They
in my
can't
own
take
movie.
it
You
out.
know what I
Yeah,
mean?
100%.
And it's like,
My movie is cracking.
and you know what the key is? Kenan, be grateful.
You have to be, because
I mean, look at your life, look at my life, and I look around here and I think where I grew up, and I go, God, I don't know what I did, but thank you.
yeah,
Thank you for all this.
yeah, but I'm on 100%. And
Mhm.
also blessings continue to flow when you're grateful. You know what I mean? Like when you stop being grateful, that cuts off the dam. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's just like, why continue to give towards someone who doesn't deserve, kind of thing, when it's
Right.
like things that start to just spring out of nowhere, kind of thing, like these interactions. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
if you weren't such a cool, open kind of a person, and we weren't already like circling each other from a very cool
Right.
foundation and fundraiser and like relationship we have with that, then you know these moments wouldn't be able to happen. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I wouldn't be able to see you in the crowd and like notice how cool you are on top of being a fan for being at my man's fundraiser for his child. You know what I
Give
mean?
him a shout out. Yeah.
Like always. So like
Always.
once I started like seeing you there more than once, it was just like, oh, he's a real one, like a super duper real one. Like seeing you there even once
Yeah.
is like, yo, you're a real one.
Well, what
But
are we
like,
here
man,
for? You know, that's the foundation.
Yeah. Shout out to the Christian Rivera.
Rivera Foundation.
Foundation,
Great
yeah.
foundation, folks. Just a wonderful foundation. Anytime you have a chance to donate to that foundation, a brilliant foundation. And I agree. I mean, what advice would you give? And they always ask me this. And they say, hey, you know, my daughter, or I want to be an actor. I want to be on set, or whatever. What do you say to them?
I think you got to go through. I think everybody has to go through the theater. Like if you want to take this serious, you got to
Right.
go through the theater. You know what I
Right.
mean? You're gonna have to like, yeah, if you get lucky and you know somebody or you pop
Right.
up on a thing, do that. But also you got to sharpen that theater tool. It's just the only kind of like stand-ups have to build their sets 5 minutes at a time, 3 minutes, whatever, over the course of
Yes.
a year.
A year
And all
before
of
they
them,
do a special.
all of them do it that way. You know what I mean? It's just the only way they did. And Chris Rock to this day, a new set, Jerry Seinfeld, the whole documentary about that. You know what I mean? Like that's
Right.
the only way to do it.
Right.
For acting, I feel like the theater is that critical. You know what I
Yes.
mean? I really do.
The theater is like, I call it the aerobics for actors, because
For
you
sure.
have to know your lines, and every day you got to.
Yeah.
Now, look, you know, I've been doing the one-man show now for 30 something. You have to come and see it. one day.
Please. Where is it?
Yeah, it's.
I meant to show you this also.
Yeah.
This was continue though.
Yeah. No.
I
I
wanna
want you
hear
to come and
this
see it,
Yeah.
and you be my guest. You and whoever, you know.
Yeah.
Your family, whatever you want to bring, and you have to see it, because this is how I built that.
Yeah.
A year,
Yeah.
I wrote 10 minutes, 5 minutes,
Yeah.
and my theater company,
Yeah.
and I kept workshopping it. Then finally, after a year, I had this like 90 minutes of like
Good juice.
shit,
Good
good
juice.
juice.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that, and it won all the awards. That's what made me a star. So,
That's
but
incredible.
I worked on that for a year,
Yeah.
You know, and you're
And
right. That's the
it's
only way to
hard
do it.
not to think that you're crazy. You know what I mean? Like when you're just that in something and you won't let it go for a year. So this was yesterday. So yesterday, this week is the General Assembly, so traffic has been insane.
Yes, oh, that's right.
So our pitch meeting yesterday got pushed back to like 6:30, and I was planning to get to work at like 5ish, you know, just to be early-ish or whatever, rush hour. And I'm like, all right, I'll give myself an hour. It took the whole hour to get there. I didn't even make it to where I normally
Right.
park. I had to park 2 blocks away to where I was just at, and I was just like, all right, I'll just get across 6th Avenue and just pull over, right? And then I'll just walk. This is where I pulled over.
Oh, my restaurant. Chazz Palminteri's Italian Restaurant and Bar, 30 West 46th Street.
Come on.
When you go there, say desserts on me. You got to say you saw my show.
Come on. Incredible. So like I was like, I hear you, universe. You know what I'm saying? Like
I
that
believe in
universe
all
is
that.
loud. 1,000%.
You know, I believe in God. I believe in there's a universe here, and I believe in how we doing with
All of
time,
it.
John?
We got to wrap it up. I have one question though.
Yeah.
My question is, I want to hear your dream collaboration, alive or dead, whether it's a sketch or it's a movie, performance.
I mean, Richard would have been the greatest, you know, like he was on top of being a prolific stand-up, he was a brilliant actor. You know what I mean? Like,
was.
Richard, Robin Williams too. Like I had a touch of Robin Williams because he sat in on a What's Up With That because we had somebody drop out and he happened to just be around and he was cool enough to just sit the second chair,
Yeah.
which had like no lines, so like it wasn't like a heavy commitment.
Right.
But he did it, and I asked him to do it, and he did it, and like that was amazing. You know what I'm
Robin,
saying?
I knew Robin well.
Robin
He was
Williams,
a great
when
guy.
De Niro hosted, you know what I mean?
That's right.
So
I knew
it was
Robin
like,
well, and he was a great guy.
yeah, like those would be 2 great ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that would be great. Well, Kenan, and you know what? And that's an Irish name, Kenan.
It's Irish, it's African, it's Turkish, it's
And
it's a few
it means
things.
enduring, I think, right? Or what does it mean?
I mean, different things. Like the
Yeah.
one I latched onto as a kid was like Little Strong One. I don't know if that
Little Strong
is
One. Yeah, it
even
means
a
something
real
about
one.
strength.
Yeah.
But you're just a great guy, man. You
Thank
you
you,
really
man.
are. Not
Thank
only
you.
extremely talented, you're just a good man. You're a good soul. I can
Thank
see
you.
it. You know, I can look at you. I only want to be around good souls.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, life's too short. I don't want to hear no bullshit. I don't want to be around people that
And
look
life
down-
is too short coming from a guy whose career has spanned so much time. You know what I mean? And you've been able to like do this at a good pace, and you like lived a life, you've raised a family, you built a home,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And you're just still going.
It's
So
all
like,
discipline. It's all discipline.
yeah.
You do the right thing and God rewards you back.
Yeah.
Do bad things happen to good people? Of course.
Yeah.
But as a whole, if you just stay on the course, be grateful every day, life will turn out to be okay.
Yeah, man.
The last thing I want to say is I read a book, because I always read these books about success and I try to get things, you know, I like to read about the Stoics and about all that.
Mhm.
But I read a book about all these CEOs all over the world. They had this guy interviewed all of them. They said, what's the number one thing of success? And people would say, well, is it perseverance, grit? No, adaptability. How you could adapt to every situation.
100%.
The way you get along with people.
Yep.
And I heard they had this line that was amazing. Your network is your net worth. And I went,
Your
shit,
network
man.
is your net worth. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, adaptability, man. Because
Adaptability. You know,
life laughs at your plans constantly.
yes.
You know?
How you could adapt.
Yeah.
But here, you know, Kenan Thompson, longest cast member on Saturday Night Live, the legend.
Roll with the punches, folks.
Saturday Night Live, man, it's a legendary, I mean, it's 40 years now, right? It's been on?
This is the 50th.
50th.
This is the 50th.
You know what it is to be on a television show for 5 years?
You know?
It's so hard. 50 years. That is
It's a ginormous testament to some very hardworking, brilliant people.
wow. And Lauren, I mean, 50 years.
Shout him
God
out.
bless you. Shout out to
He
Lauren
left for a
Michaels.
little bit, but even if it's 46, it's 45 plus. I've been doing the math. Like, so if he left for like 3 or 4 years during the Eddie Murphy tenure,
Yeah.
right? So even if he left, whatever, it's 46 years. Like half of 46 is 23. And I'm starting my 22nd. I'm like, I've been there half that man's time. That's insane.
Wow.
That's insane.
That's insane. Well,
insane.
Kenan, I really want to appreciate. Thank you for coming.
Down, man. Thank you. Man. I
And
couldn't. be
listen,
more
is there
thankful.
anything coming up that you want to tell the audience? That we
Yeah,
got your
you know,
podcast, right?
we got a podcast. Thank you for shouting them out. It's called You Already Know. But yeah, I'm always just doing stuff. Like we started our production company, Artists for Artists. You know,
Artists for
kinda
Artists.
thing.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice. And they
Yeah.
could follow you on Instagram.
I'm on my Instagram, first and last name, Kenan Thompson. I'm
Kenan
just
Kenan
here.
Thompson. Check. I mean, look, see Saturday Night Live. Shout out to him on his Instagram. Like him, follow him. He's a great guy, man.
Thank you.
You know, all right, Kenan. Thank you. Thank
Man,
you so
it's
much.
my pleasure. Thank
My
you,
pleasure.
man.
This is Chazz Palminteri. I'll see you next week. Don't forget my restaurants. Don't forget. Just say you saw the show. You get a
Two.
dessert.
2 restaurants.
2 restaurants. That's right.
Amazing.
2. One in White Plains, one in Manhattan.
Love it.
And also pick up my cigars. Voted number 8 cigar.
And the one-man show,
The one-man show.
come on.
Got to see it. Kenan, you're going to come and see it. You're going to be my guest.
I'm coming.
All right. God bless you all, and I'll see you next week.